Well, yesterday we started off the knockout campaign of the Champions League with a win over Bayern Munich. In the round of 16 we continue today, hopefully doing an Italian job as we take on Inter Milan in the quarterfinals. Hopefully their chances of Champions League glory after today will be stepping with the fishes. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 108 of the Leipzig Loko with Lokomotive Leipzig here on Sean Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up today we do have the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We take on Inter Milan, who have won this competition 2 of the last 5 seasons. Also a big update on how the domestic competitions are going as well, so if you're looking forward to that coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But as I said in yesterday's episode, we had the round of 16 of the Champions League. We did say bye-bye to Bayern. If you missed that episode, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. That does set up a tie against Inter Milan. As I said, a team who have won the Champions League 2 of the last 5 seasons, and also a team that did a number on RB Leipzig in that round of 16. Hopefully we do not meet the same fate, but thankfully it does mean we've gone further than our crosstown rivals have in the Champions League this season. But before then, we start off today's episode with this season's next gen list. Also worth noting, Joseph Tezak is back from an injury. Coming in to today's episode, our injuries not quite so bad for this quarter-final. But first up, the next gen list, and as you can see, quite a few players yet again inside of that top 10. The winner is our new central attacking midfielder in Nico Benito. He's done a great job since we signed him very early in the off-season transfer window. Also, we've got Tezak in 3rd spot, and as well as that, Velarde in 6th, which isn't too bad a job for our backup striker. And as well as that, a bit further down the list in 27th spot, we do have Spaljak, our backup to Tezak. So certainly some good young promising players here at Lokomotive Leipzig for the second season in a row. We have got the next gen winner after Andre Hurtado did pick it up last season. But we have played 2 Bundesliga games off the back of yesterday's episode, those 3 games against Bayern Munich, one of those being in the Bundesliga, where unfortunately they did pinch a draw off us when Andrew Pittman did get an early red card. First up off the back of that episode, we took on Stuttgart away from home. This was a game, as you can tell from the stats, we were on the front foot in goals to Benito as well as a double to Hurtado did mean we picked up a 3-1 win. We conceded just before halftime, but thankfully Hurtado grabbed one right on the stroke of it, so we went into the sheds with a 2-1 lead, and he put pay of the game quite early in the second half. So thankfully back on track, our first win in the Bundesliga in a little while there away from home against Stuttgart. And off the back of that, we did take on RB Leipzig at home in a derby, and this turned out to be a game where we did feel like for a while we might get FM well and truly on top in this one in the first half, but unfortunately could not score a goal. Then Fratesi with a stunner early in the second half to give RB a 1-0 lead. They held that for most of the second half, but thankfully with only a few minutes left, Pittman ball over the top there for Zoran. He rockets that one into the top right corner. You'll see the stats shortly, especially the XG match story from that first half. Definitely a game I feel like we should have been winning, but unfortunately drop points at home yet again, albeit in a derby that's not too bad, but still it has allowed a team to go above us on the Bundesliga table. It's not Dortmund, because they also drop points on that match day. It's Bayern Munich. They have caught up to us on points, and their goal differential is far superior to both ours and to Borussia Dortmund, so it does now mean we're going to need a little bit of luck if we are going to lift the Bundesliga trophy come the end of this season. But thankfully, well and truly still in the race for that title. We take on Hertha Berlin in between these Inter games. In today's episode, it's a little bit frustrating there, not getting the job done over RB Leipzig in our home game, but hopefully we still find a way to pick up that Bundesliga title. But before then, it is time for us to focus on the Champions League. As I said, our injury concerns not as bad as they were during yesterday's episode. Velarde and Tezak are back from pulled calf muscles and pulled knee ligaments respectively, and Nico Benito though still out with that fractured lower arm. Hopefully that will recover if we can make our way through to the semi-finals by that stage, but he can still play occasionally when he is on a full green heart. But fair to say we're taking things safe with the next gen winner. But we're taking on Inter Milan today, as I said, off the back of that impressive win in the second leg over RB Leipzig 4-0, which did see them progress by 5-1 Endrick in that game. very, very good this first leg. Is at our home stadium this time, so hopefully we can get off to a good start, and that might just allow us to ease off a little bit in that second leg at the San Siro. And to be fair, they're not doing that good a job in Serie A. Inter Milan, they were predicted to finish first, and their recent form is quite good, but they are down in fourth on the table behind the likes of Napoli, who we did beat in the league phase of the Champions League. So based on that, this could be a tie that we can come out winners in and hopefully do an Italian job on Inter, but this is going to be a bit tougher, I suspect, than Bayern Munich in yesterday's episode, just because they're a team that we're not quite so familiar with, but thankfully we can put out a slightly stronger squad for this tie, albeit a few players are still quite injury prone, so it does mean we are resting just a little bit going into this first leg. Unfortunately, Andre Hurtado is on a heavy workload, so that means that Billy Camillo does come in for him. Also, Benito will start this first leg on a full green heart. Zoran is quite injury prone, and also De Jong over Andrew Pittman. That is because he is suspended, having picked up too many yellow cards in that Bayern tie in yesterday's episode. So just a couple of changes there to our usual first choice 11. It's actually just our centre back and our left back, with Benito usually being first choice, but Inter Milan do have some quite good players in that squad, especially Endrick and Lautaro Martinez up front. That is a dangerous front two under the management of Diego Simeone. Hopefully no Andrew Pittman doesn't prove too costly. Also, Mikhailo Mudryk is out on the left wing, I believe it is, for Inter Milan, but here's our team as we ran through before. I believe Inter are going with a 4-4-2, so hopefully we can break that down in this home league and take some advantage to the San Siro, because that could be a tough task away from home. Obviously, we're a bit more used to playing at away grounds in Germany. Doing it across Europe might be a bit tougher, albeit, of course, we did beat the likes of Real Madrid away from home in the league phase of the Champions League. But the first highlight here is a early corner to Inter Milan. Now, João Mario on the edge of the box unleashes a stunning strike. It's a dreadful start in the home league as well. We go 1-0 down after only 1 minute. We dealt with the danger there from that corner at the near post, but unfortunately, no one putting pressure on João Mario on the edge of the box. He gets found there. Not too sure who that was from, but it's an absolute thunderbolt, that one. Nothing that San Jose can do to keep that one out of the top left corner. Unfortunately, we go behind early off the back of that. We'll try and encourage our guys, and shortly off the back of it, we are down the other end for a corner of our own. Hopefully can find Nicolo Amadori. We do at the far post. He puts that one just inside that near one, and we grab an equaliser nice and early. Exactly what we need. Our Italian striker coming up big against a club from his home nation. He is now above the 30 goal mark for this season. Just wrong fits the goalkeeper there. Does Amadori with that header, and thankfully we are not behind for long, which is good, because that would be a bit of a disaster going into that away leg with a deficit. Locked up at 1-1 coming up to the 15-minute mark, and now down the corner here in our favour. Amadori this time at the near post. That one comes off the post, so it does look like we're a bit threatening from set pieces, albeit Inter looking quite similar. That time Amadori deals with the danger. Then Bratun does get a header off, but thankfully that one just floats over the bar. So both teams with some chances coming from set pieces, but thankfully locked up at 1-1. And just past the 20-minute mark yet again, it is Inter Milan on the attack, but thankfully Endrick, that touch a little bit too heavy. Osvaldo plays that one to San Jose. He pumps that one deep. Unfortunately, Amadori doesn't challenge for the ball. And now Bratun does get in behind, but good block there from De Jong. Dirk De Jong coming in for Pittman. Because of that suspension off the back of that, we'll go balanced. But unfortunately, that doesn't cancel out this corner, because so far, these have been the most dangerous situations in the game. Barella floats that one into the mix, so thankfully Amadori and then De Jong can clear that one. We'll see if anything else comes from that highlight. Barella goes down, but thankfully that was not a foul from De Jong. And about halfway through the first half, still locked up here at 1-1, albeit now we're starting to get on the front foot a little bit more in terms of stats, more shots and more shots on target. And just past the half-hour mark, we do have a goal kick here in our favour, trying to play out from the back. Inter put some good pressure on us, but thankfully at the moment we are keeping hold of the ball. Blomé looks for Matthias Teller. Unfortunately, can't find him. Not really a good option when you've got the likes of Amadori up front. So Inter with another chance here on the ball. They try and play that one over the top. Thankfully, Osvaldo plays that one safely back to San Jose in goal, and he will roll this one out to Camillo. Now Escobar back to San Jose. That one slightly undercooked, but thankfully still finds him. Now Amadori can't win that one, but thankfully Benito does. Tezak squares that one over to the other side for Matthias Tell. Start to cut to the other side. Sicker, nice through ball here for Benito. Big chance here at the half-hour mark, but unfortunately he just puts that one wide. Still locked up at 1-1, but it feels like now just starting to get on the front foot a little bit more, as I said, based on shots and also that XG match story. We're just starting to get a bit of a gap on Inter Milan in that, but it's a highlight here for Inter Milan with about 5 minutes to go in the first half. They try and play that one up to Lautaro Martinez, and actually good work there. Play that one out to Blatun. Now Endrick can't win that ball over Sicker, so thankfully a chance for us here to play out from the back. Nice ball there from Tezak over the top for Nicolo Amadori. He beats the goalkeeper at his near post. It's a first half double for our Italian striker. He makes it 2-1, and that will be very nice off the back of conceding that early stunner to João Mario. Blomier plays this one up to Tezak, takes a couple of touches, and Amadori right on the shoulder of those centre-backs. The goalkeeper goes for the early dive. Thankfully, Amadori somewhat reads it and puts that one away just inside that far post to make it 2-1. Hopefully, going into halftime, that would be a decent scoreline, which hopefully we might get a chance to build on in the second half. But that, in the end, is a pretty good first half, especially off the back of that early stunner to João Mario. Thankfully, off the back of that, Amadori with a header and then a nicely timed finish around the goalkeeper makes it 2-1 to us at halftime, and hopefully we might be able to extend the gap so we can take a cushion goal or two into that second leg at the San Siro. No need for changes at halftime. Everyone is doing a decent job, and we'll get the action back underway with that 2-1 lead. Inter Milan looks like they're having the better of things early in the second half, but coming up to the hour mark, we do still hold a 2-1 lead. Just about to change some stuff there and check on player fitness. We do have a throw. We'll let this continue before we do check on things off the back of this highlight. We find De Jong on the left-hand side, plays that forward to Matthias Tell. Nice through ball there to pick out Benito. Good one too. And Tell now on the edge of the box. Back to Benito, who puts that away in the bottom right corner. I think he's now on a deep red heart, so that might be the last thing he does in this game. But it's a big goal there from the next gen winner, and it gives us a cushion here in the first leg of this Champions League quarterfinal. Good 1-2 play there between him and Matthias Tell. And I think that might be an outside of the foot no-look shot there from Nico Benito. Very, very cheeky finish there to put us 3-1 in front. But as I said, he is down to a red heart. Also Sicker and Tezak. Zavochin can come on at right back. We'll bring on Spaliak at right wing, and Zoran in the camera a little bit harsh there on Nico Benito off the back of that good goal. But he's done his job. Obviously want to keep him safe with that injury that he does currently have. And shortly off the back of that, Blomier picks up a yellow card, so another sub. Edgar will come on for him, but hopefully we can at least keep this 2-goal cushion going in to that away leg at the San Siro, especially as we are well and truly still in a fight for the Bundesliga title. If we could actually rest some players in that second leg of the Champions League, that would be quite good if we maybe could grab one more goal. We've got a couple of players up front now on red hearts. Amadori is on a hat-trick, so obviously I think the option here is to take off Matthias Tell. Did think there briefly about bringing on Velarde, because Tunde Musa has been a little bit injury prone of late, but I think we'll use Musa in his more natural role, also put Escobar onto defence. So hopefully we can at least make sure that Inter Milan don't grab another goal, and we can take that 2-goal lead to the San Siro. Escobar picks up a yellow card, but I think for now no changes are needed. But about to make our way into the last 5 minutes of this game, it's time for us to start to time waste just a little bit. Also lower the tempo, shorten the passing directness, and slow the pace down. And hopefully this will make sure that we can go to the San Siro with that 2-goal lead as we make our way into the last couple of minutes. And there's now a corner in our favour. Looking there for Amadori at the near post, gets his head on the end of that one, but unfortunately Hiddle, he does make a save to keep it at 3-1. But just as we're about to enter the 4 minutes of added time, a free kick in our favour. Vochin takes his time on this one, as we instructed him to do before, but passes that to Pizzaguerlo. Now Escobar, hopefully good smart play here, and we keep the ball, albeit Tunde Musa. Big hole there for Amadori, and he'll complete his hat-trick in injury time. Nicolo Amadori with a hat-trick against an Italian club in the Champions League quarterfinals, and that now looks like a near unassailable lead to go into the second leg. 4-1 Tunde Musa. We debated between him or Velarde to come on. That's some good work there. For some reason, they leave Amadori unmarked on a hat-trick. He tucks it away in that bottom left corner. We make our way into the last minute of added time, and in the end, that is a comprehensive 4-1 win over Inter Milan, albeit they did get a really good goal early on through João Mario, but thankfully from there, Nerazzurri took control of the game with that header at the 4-minute mark, went round the goalkeeper with a few minutes left in that first half, and Nico Benito with a very cheeky finish, I think it was, early in the second half, and then the cherry on top, Nerazzurri completes his hat-trick just inside injury time, and we pick up a 4-1 win. Apparently that goal from Nico Benito was quite good, so I think it was a no-look effort with the outside of the foot, but that is a very good result. Not too sure yet who we might be playing in the semis if we hold on to this lead like we should do. Arsenal and Real Madrid are locked up going to the Bernabeu, but that's a big advantage for us going in to the second leg 4-1 over Inter Milan. We'll come back shortly, show you guys the result from a game in the Bundesliga against Hertha Berlin before we hopefully can make our way through to the semis. And we are back about to take on Inter Milan in the second leg of that Champions League quarterfinal with that very nice 4-1 lead thanks to the hat-trick from Nicolo Nerazzurri. In between these two legs, we did take on Hertha Berlin in the Bundesliga. It was away from home, and as you can tell, the stats from this game actually quite even, but somehow we end up with a 4-0 win. Yet again, we scored 2 goals in both halves. It was Pittman and Nerazzurri in the first half, then Escobar and Musa in the second half. As you can see, I did rest a couple of players for this game, but for the most part, it was quite a strong team, and we pick up 3 much-needed points in the Bundesliga to keep pace with Bayern Munich and with Dortmund, who also picked up wins on that match day. But it does mean that all 3 of us now are qualified for the Champions League next season. Unfortunately, Bayern Munich now got a 12-goal differential over us in the race for the Bundesliga title with only 4 games left. But that does mean that already we have got our transfer budget for next season if we need to play next season, because if we win the Bundesliga and maybe the Champions League as well, because at the moment looks like we'll make the final 4, not too sure if we actually need to do one more season of the save before FM23 does come out. But the budget, it is £21 million, and the wage budget has risen to 55,000, so it's not too big of an increase. And of course, we could get a lot more money through what we're doing in the Champions League. So there's a chance we could increase that budget if we need to come the end of the season, but that's what we might have to work with going into the start of next season to maybe just tidy up a couple of areas of this team, like a better first choice ball-winning midfielder, still looking for someone who might be an improvement on Justin Blomé, but we are doing a good job here at the moment, and hopefully we can hold on to that 3-goal cushion over Inter Milan in the second leg of this Champions League quarterfinal, albeit we are going to be missing Justin Blomé for this second leg. He pulled his spy off the back of that game against Hertha Berlin. He is out for a further 1 to 6 days, so it does mean he won't be available. That means that Horvath will cover right back for us. Karl Votchen can be the backup balling midfield option, and Colm Edgar, he will get a start in this second league. He's a decent player, so that should not be too big of a concern. But quite a few players are injury prone going into the second league, and with that 3-goal cushion, does feel like a chance for us here to just give some players a rest, especially with some big games domestically coming up in the not too distant future. A semi-final of the DFB Pokal against RB Leipzig, and also we take on Dortmund in only 2 games time in the Bundesliga. That is a massive one. If Bayern Munich can also slip up, even a draw from that one might be enough for us to stay above Dortmund with that goal differential. So lots of changes to our team for this game. Horvath actually starts at right back, Sicker on the bench, so I got that wrong earlier. Also, we've got Hurtado starting in place of Osvaldo for this one. Pittman comes back in for De Jong off the back of that suspension. Our defensive midfield, it has been rotated to Edgar and Bundok. And up front, we're going to use Cosetta in the cam role because we've got Aneko who's still quite tired, and unfortunately Zoran quite injury prone, and as well as that Baladi up top and Musa on the left wing. Early highlight here, it's a corner again in favour of Inter Milan. That one takes a big deflection for some reason. Pittman just heads that one straight into the path of Boyanov, and into here with a good chance early, albeit they have to play that one back to the stunning goal scorer from the first league in João Mario. Hopefully this time we can keep them out for a bit longer, because it's around about the same time they scored in that first league. Again, Pittman has to try and deal with that danger, but unfortunately can only find Mudryk. Good 1-2, and he does get in behind, tries to square that one for Endrick. It took a big deflection, but still fell to him, and he puts that one away. Bottom right corner, Mudryk the architect apparently. I think there was a fair share of luck in that assist that he will pick up, because this took a big deflection. I presume it was off of Jan Horvath. It was a massive deflection, but it fell to Endrick very kindly. He puts that one away, and maybe all this rotation wasn't such a good idea. And shortly off the back of that opening goal at the 3-minute mark, it is a free kick here to Inter Milan, but thankfully Tezak will win that ball back for us. Now Bellardi up front is a big lad. He does win that one in the air, but unfortunately just heads that straight to an Inter Milan defender. And now a chance for him again here to build from the back. Good pressure there though from our other Italian striker, but unfortunately can't win the ball back for us. We'll try and press them here, but unfortunately Inter just passing it around here and making us run a little bit early. Now Endrick, the goal scorer, is on the ball. He takes on Horvath down that right-hand side. Unfortunately, he beats him in a ball over the top there, Endrick, with a big chance to make it 2-0 on the day, but thankfully it comes off the post, and also he just snuck offside, but a bit worrying signs here early into Milan. Well and truly still on the front foot, but we do still have that 2-goal lead from the first league, even being 1-0 down on the day. Now a chance for us to do something here on the counter-attack. Tezak, nice ball over the top there for Tunde Musa. Tight angle. It somehow gets through the hands of Hedel, and thankfully our 3-goal lead is back nice and early, quite similar to what happened in the first league, but this time Tunde Musa, we get a bit of luck this time from a deflection or from a poor effort in goal. Not too sure what happened there, but good one too between him and Tezak, albeit a long range one, and that one sort of sips up there. Bastoni and Hedel, it looks like, get a bit confused. It goes through the hands of the goalkeeper, and we are back in front by 3 goals. So thankfully back in the same position that we did find ourselves in coming in to the second leg with only now 70 minutes left. Edgar picked up an early yellow card, so he'll probably come off at half-time for Calvocin, but at the moment doing a decent job in terms of the scoreline, albeit Inter Milan arguing FM quite hard here with the stats well and truly in their favour, but thankfully we've been efficient with our chances in this game. It's happened against us a few times lately in the Bundesliga, so hopefully we can make the most of it here in the Champions League. And there's a highlight in our favour, a free kick a few minutes shy of half-time. Camillo will find Bandok, Edgar up to Tezak. Now Kuseta back to Bandok. Lovely short passing here, and Velarde does run onto that one, albeit he did hold that run for a little while, so I do suspect here he might be offside. This goal might not count to give us a 4-goal lead, but in fact, he was onside. It's an interesting movement there from Velarde, because it looked like here he could have gone to that ball a bit sooner from Bandok, but he is definitely onside. Maybe he thought Kuseta was going to run onto that one. Thankfully, Velarde did pump that one past Hedel, and just shy of halftime, we now have a 4-goal lead, and all this rotation might be working out perfectly, giving some of our big players a rest before some big domestic games, before hopefully the semi-finals now of the Champions League. We take a 2-1 lead on the day, 6-2 on aggregate, and so far this game, scoreline-wise, quite similar to that first leg back at the RB Arena. Another big chance for us here before halftime. Tunde Musa, he gets in behind, but unfortunately that one comes off the post. The big 1-1 chance, which he put away earlier, that one looked a little bit more of a bigger chance, but unfortunately the woodwork saves Inter Milan, albeit shortly off the back of that we have another highlight here, a free kick in our favour. San Jose well out of goal. We'll pump that one deep looking for Velarde. Unfortunately we can't quite win that one. Barella plays that back to a defender. Now Button, good short passing here, and Del Mario is on the ball down that right hand side. It's being double marked, at least he was there for a little bit, but now he finds Button, puts this one far post. We try and clear that one, not too great there though from Tezak. Endrick is on the ball. Mudrik, Tezak does well, and a chance for us here potentially on the counter-attack. Unfortunately can't quite link up though with Velarde, and Zalewski down that far side does get in behind. Looks for Button at the far post, but thankfully despite the fact that was a long highlight, it just misses the target, and we go into half-time leading in the second league 2-1, 4 goals up on aggregate. You'd like to think that is a margin that we can hold on to inside the last 45 minutes, even with this rotation team that we have put out. But to be fair, they're doing a good job so far. Just one change at halftime will take off Edgar on that yellow card for Calvocin, but apart from that, everyone else doing a decent job on some decent ratings, especially Bandok, Musa, and Velarde. Also, we might chuck Bandok on defend early and be more disciplined, just to make sure that hopefully Inter Milan don't get too many chances in the second half. We'll start to seal things down here a little bit early. We'll tell the guys to stay focused. Hopefully that just also reminds them that this game could still turn on its head if Inter Milan grab a couple of goals in the second half, and an early warning sign here potentially as Inter Milan do have a highlight from the restart. Lautaro passes that one through to Endrick. It's oh so simple, and his 18th goal of the season right off the back of halftime. And that team talk might have been the wrong one because it's done absolutely nothing for our defence. Barella plays that one up to Lautaro. Of all players, Bundok running out of line after we chuck him on defence. Maybe that was a bad idea, but Endrick levels things up on the day, makes it 6-3 overall, but still in a strong position to be going through to the semi-finals of the Champions League against one of Real Madrid or Arsenal. Of course, we did beat Real Madrid in the league phase, so they hold no fears, especially as we won that game at the Bernabeu. But coming up to the hour mark, and Bundok is on a red hard. Escobar is a bit injury prone, but despite that, we will bring him on. And also, Velarde is on a yellow card, so what we might do here is move Corsetta up front, and Danny Hermel can kind of play in the cam role, so he'll come on for this last half hour. Hopefully, he can do a decent job there, even though he is usually a right winger. We'll give the guys a praise off the back of that. Hurtado on a yellow card, and good chance here for Barella from a free kick. It takes a wicked deflection because San Jose went top left corner. It somehow finds its way top right, and Inter Milan, with only 25 minutes left, have got away back into this one now. Only 2 goals behind that one. Takes a big old deflection from that man in the wall. So San Jose, no chance. They are right back in this one. Inter Milan, we've got 2 more subs left to make, and Andrew Pittman is down to a red card, so De Jong can come on for him. Also, Hurtado on a poor rating and has just picked up a yellow card as well. So we'll bring on Montez for him. Try and give Osvaldo a rest in this game. Of course, that is definitely going to happen now because that's our last substitution. And hopefully, that's the last goal scoring action that we do see from Inter Milan in this one with only 20 minutes left. They are now in front, which to be fair based on stats, they deserve to be from what we've seen in this game. But we were very efficient with our chances in that first half, but unfortunately, I've come out of the sheds rocking and yet again on the attack. Barella with a chance, but thankfully just scoops that one over that top left corner. That would have made things very interesting with only 15 minutes left. Thankfully, still up by 2 goals with 10 minutes left in this tie. And now it's time for us to start time wasting quite considerably. And also, we might do what we did late in that Bayern game off the back of grabbing that late winner. We'll chuck those wingers who usually play up front onto inverted wing backs on defend, and also both our fullbacks, they can go on to defend, and we'll just make sure that we're set up nice and solidly for these last 10 minutes, so hopefully no chances for the opposition to pinch this one after we've held a pretty comfortable lead going into the second half of this second leg. Also, time waste frequently and just turn down our tempo so it is lower. But I think that's all we need to do inside these last 10 minutes. So hopefully we can hold on and make our way through to the final 4 of the Champions League. Now making our way towards injury time. There will be 4 minutes of added time already, about halfway through that. So I think those late changes have helped. Certainly tried to stuff that up a little bit in the second half, but thankfully all that rotation does kind of pay off. Hopefully it will, at least in the domestic games we do have coming up against the likes of Leipzig in the DFB Pokal semis, and also that big Bundesliga clash, potentially a title deciding one when we do take on Borussia Dortmund, but we lose the second leg. But thankfully that Amadori hat-trick in the first leg proves oh so crucial, and we pick up a 6-4 win on aggregate and make our way through to the semis of the Champions League at the first time of asking. Of course, we did that in the Europa League last season before Lons knocked us out in the semis, but this season it will be Spanish opposition. We take on Real Madrid. They get past Arsenal 3-2 in the second leg, as I said earlier. And that's not too scary because we did beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu in the league phase, albeit that was a slightly fortunate win, but at least we know that we can beat those guys when we are not quite at the top of our game. So that is certainly a winnable tie for us in the semis of the Champions League. We are still alive for a treble this season at Lokomotive Leipzig off the back of a 6-4 aggregate win in the quarters over Inter Milan. So that big first leg win in the Champions League quarterfinals does mean we go through to the semi 6-4 over Inter Milan. We get 9.13 million off the back of that knockout Diego Simeone. And internet does mean coming up in tomorrow's episode, it is a semi-final where we do take on Real Madrid. The first leg is going to be at the Bernabeu, as I said, a team and venue that we have already won at earlier in the Champions League this season. So hopefully we can do something similar and make our way through to a first Champions League final, and that will be against one of Atletico Madrid or Liverpool. Liverpool looking to go back-to-back in the Champions League. But I think that will do it for today's episode. We get past Inter Milan in the quarters of the Champions League, setting up that semi-final tomorrow against Real Madrid. If you enjoyed that one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. Obviously tomorrow, Real Madrid in the semis, but also worth noting before then, those two big games domestically. Unfortunately, if we want to finish the season by the end of this week, we probably need to skip over those, even though they are both quite big games. With RB Leipzig in a semi of the DFB Pokal, that one at home, then Dortmund away in the Bundesliga. Two big games coming up before we come back for the Champions League semi, so hopefully those don't knock our guys around too much. We can rest some players, especially against Bochum in the Bundesliga. That should be another game we can put out a rotated team in. We'll come back tomorrow, update you guys on the DFB Pokal in the Bundesliga before a Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
Thought I could do this, left with the sadness I owe. Don't know how